As a teacher, I've had students come to me with a very beginner or beginner intermediate level of understanding when it comes to sheet music, and they can sight read decently. It might take them, might be a bit slow at it. But at the same time, I'll ask them to play something that they haven't read before, that they're a little bit more interested in, and they go ahead and play something technically that surpasses whatever they're reading. And I once had a student come to me. She was able to read like Morning Mood by Edvard Grieg or some easy classical arrangements, but she could also play the introduction to Carly Rae Jepsen's Making My Way Downtown song. I forget the actual name of the song, but those two extremes of being restricted by sheet music, or only being able to read very easy music, and being able to play something that's technically very difficult but only by memory, or only by muscle memory as well, these two extremes are rooted in something similar, which is that they both lack a foundational understanding. So the reason that she was struggling to read sheet music and to get somewhere with it, because that was because she only looked at each individual note on a page and tried to figure out what they were, rather than making some sort of connection as to what they were. And then in the instance of her only being able to memorize a technically very difficult piano introduction, it was in the key of like G flat or B major. In that instance, she was only able to play by muscle memory and have to revisit the same video in order to reestablish, in order to help learn that. So how can we actually bridge the gap? And so in this video, I want to just have a little bit of fun in the style of Philip Glass. The reason that I want to teach you the style and how to copy a composer is because I hope to bridge reading sheet music, doing something that's technically quite difficult, and that might be a bit too difficult for a beginner or intermediate pianist to play if they were reading music, and to also explain it using fundamental piano music theory and fundamental piano concepts. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm inspired by Metamorphosis II. And that's not exactly what's written down. And that's kind of the whole point. The whole point is to be able to understand it in a much deeper way. Let's go ahead and dive into what's going on here. So in this piece of this piece of music uses a particular scale, and that scale is a natural minor. A natural minor is the relative minor of C major, and C major has no flats, no sharps. Same case for A minor. So within A minor, we can go ahead and form a ton of different chords. We can form 7 different chords. A minor is the first triad. If we go to the second scale degree, B, this is B diminished. We can also form C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor again. Now, part of the key to breaking out of what's written down on a page, and also improvising a little bit, is being able to identify and play each of these chords in different positions across the keyboard. So I'm breaking up. What I'm doing is actually very harmonically simple. It's extremely harmonically simple. It's the same 3 notes over and over again. But there's a few concepts that I can employ that allow me to do exactly what I'm doing. Let me talk about those. That's inversions. Inversions allow us to play one chord or one triad in different positions across the keyboard. And all I'm doing is just breaking up that triad into separate notes. Let's talk about that. If I take A of the A minor triad and I invert it, up to first inversion, this is what it looks like. All the component notes are the same, but they've just been rearranged. All right, let's do that again. Here's second inversion, and then here's root position. We have root position, first inversion, second inversion, and root position again, and this can go in both directions. All right, let me break it up note by note. Now let's apply this directly to Metamorphosis II, or at least a style that you'd hear coming from this piece of music. Here's A minor in second inversion with the left hand. I'll do a bass note with the right hand here. Again. All right. Now let's go ahead and take that right hand and let's do something with it. Let's go ahead and take A minor and extend it. Arpeggiate it. Now let's align that with that left hand. What exactly am I aligning? I'm aligning A with my thumb in the right hand, and I'm aligning C here with A in my pinky. And then playing C and E between those matching points. And just like that, we are in the style of Philip Glass. Again with the right hand. Let's move that around a little bit. Let's move this whole entire structure. And this isn't written down. Let's go ahead and take it down one note. Let's take this whole entire thing, bring it down a note. What chord am I using here? I've taken all of those underlying structures and intervals and positions, and I've simply applied them to a different triad. In this case, G major. This is second inversion with the left hand, and then an arpeggio in the right hand. And I'll hit a bass note. Let's actually apply this now to exactly what's written down on in Metamorphosis II. So we start with an F major, then move to G major, then to A minor. Now I'm going to explain exactly what's going on here. We have root position triads with the left hand every time. And now I'm holding the root and alternating between the third and fifth. Moving to G. Then to A minor. Okay, that's easy enough. But with the right hand, it's a little bit different. It looks a little bit more complicated. I'm playing an arpeggio, but it's in an inverted position of each triad. So let's take F major, invert it up twice, double this bottom note, C, and just like that, I'm playing in second inversion. Same applies to G major. Take G, invert it up. Same applies to A minor. Now if we combine both hands, here's F major. Here's G major. Here's A minor. Okay, so that's exactly how we apply some of these fundamental piano concepts directly to a piece of music. And the reason that I chose Philip Glass is because his style is very beautiful, and I think it's very, it's also very accessible, and that's the primary reason why I chose it. What he does is he takes these very basic and fundamental structures and lays them out on the keyboard in a way that is very straightforward. It's simply inverted positions, arpeggios, and very consistent repetitive patterns, at least in Metamorphosis II. So that's how we can start to bridge the gap between these two extremes that I talked about earlier in the video. Being completely reliant on music and allowing that to dictate what you play and your ability. There's also the extreme of only being able to play things that, like technically, having all of your technique based on muscle memory and stringing notes together and have no deeper understanding as to how those notes work together. They're both rooted in kind of the same problem, which is they both lack knowledge of the fundamental piano fundamentals that will allow you to break free from sheet music and break free from muscle memory. That's how we can start to develop that intellectual knowledge to apply some structure to improvisation. that's how we used intellectual knowledge to break out of sheet music and start to add notes and to give each of those notes a purpose and a relationship, and to apply relationships between each of those notes on a piece of paper, which makes it easier to read, easier to digest, and it gives us a deeper understanding of what is actually going on. If you want to see a full 30-minute video, of same topic, the same video just extended to 30 minutes, go ahead and check out my website, Piano with Pacha. I've got everything uploaded there. And also, I have a completely free 43-page ebook that I encourage you to check out. It goes exactly what we dived into today, forming all of these triads and scales, how to move all these chords around. So that's completely free. Just go ahead, enter your email, and I'll send it straight away, and you'll have it available to download. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one.